Hey everyone, welcome to Real Talk. This is the show where I dig into films, the people, and now the platforms shaping what we watch and why it matters. I'm your host Josh, and today we're doing something a little different, stepping off the set and into the streaming space to talk about a platform that's not just growing, but actually curating in a space that often feels overrun by sameness. So here's the deal. If you've ever scrolled endlessly through the big name streamers thinking none of this feels fresh, well, then today's episode is probably for you. Today, I am joined by Bryan Louzil. He is the Vice President of Business Development with Mometu, a free ad-supported streaming service that's doing what a lot of platforms say they do but rarely pull off. They're highlighting the underserved voices, international storytelling, and emerging filmmakers, and they're doing it with intention, not with algorithms. Now, Mometu isn't trying to be the next Hulu or Netflix. In fact, they literally launched an ad campaign last year called We're Not Hulu or Netflix. And that energy, it carries through everything they do, from programming South Korean indies and student films to hosting a legit hybrid college film festival and promoting creator-driven content with actual support, not just empty airtime. We talked with Bryan about the spark behind Mometu's mission, how they balance niche content with platform growth, and how their More For Me and You podcast is helping to humanize the brand while spotlighting rising voices in film. We also got into the third year of the College Film Festival, which is happening right now and streaming through June on Mometu. I am lucky enough to be one of the judges for the drama category. Bryan shared his insights on how they structure this hybrid experience, what topics student filmmakers are eager to explore in the panels, and why student work deserves more than just a trophy. It deserves monetization and visibility. We dug into the business side too, from strategic fast channel partnerships and platform integration on services like Vizio to their short film contest and how it plays a role in both platform traction and creator trust. And honestly, one of my favorite parts of the episode was hearing Bryan talk about the why he almost didn't join Mometu and what changed his mind. That clarity of vision, that commitment to doing something meaningful in a very crowded streaming space, that really struck me. So whether you're a filmmaker, a film nerd like me, or just someone looking for better ways to watch better stuff, this conversation I think will hit home because it's not just about streaming, it's about curation, representation, and creating a platform where stories that don't get told finally have a place to breathe. Let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Bryan Louzil from Mometu. Welcome back to Real Talk. I'm your host, Josh, and today I have a special guest. I'm here with Bryan Louzil from the streaming app Mometu. We're going to talk about everything that is Mometu, the brand, the outlook, and the great things they have going on. I'm most excited to talk about their college film festival. It's really great. I've been watching those. But let me just bring Bryan in. Bryan, go ahead and introduce yourself to Real Talk listeners.
What's going on, Real listeners? Bryan Louzil, the VP of Business Development at Mometu, and also, like mentioned, the film festival. I'm the founder of the Mometu College Film Festival, as well as the host of podcast, which is the More For Me and You podcast. Yeah, calling in from California. So Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we've talked a little bit before. I've got a bunch of questions, but I wanted to start with just the name. I know it's More For Me and Tu, like the Spanish for you. Where did that come from? Where did that name sprout?
Yeah, it's a unique name, right? So
yeah, it is.
You said many different ways. We've actually had people say it many different ways, and we literally will not correct people. We're like, hey, if you no matter how you say it, as long as you're watching, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, exactly. As long as you're
we get Mometu, we get Mometu, we get Mometu.
All right.
If someone's got more of a Spanish dialect, so
a
lot of different ways to say it, but Mometu is how we pronounce it. And the name came from having more opportunities for filmmakers. Me is literally us sitting on your couch, not literally, but figuratively, and helping you decide what to watch. So what we do, we actually do all of our curation by hand. We do not use algorithms. We do it all by hand. So that's us exposing you to content that you never knew you loved, never knew existed, because an algorithm may or may not have ever presented it to you based on the clicks and things that you do, right? And within each app. And then the two, you hit it kind of nail on the head. It's you in Latin, which obviously Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, French.
All rooted.
We found out Hindi, actually. That's kind of cool.
Really?
Form. Yeah, I had no idea. And so, so that's kind of a universal two is you. We want to bring more opportunities for you as a user to get exposed to such content that is more so what we consider underserved. And it's just kind of a more of a universal term because we bring in content from all over the world, not just domestic content. So yeah, that's kind of where it came from.
Well, that's great. So with all that, so you talk about bringing it in from around the world. So I know you focus on the underserved content, smaller independent film, indie voices, international films. What are some of the standout titles in your opinion that really exemplify the mission of promoting those indie voices?
Man, there's been a bunch. A few come to mind. Last year we helped. So let me go back to the very beginning. We actually premiered a film called An Electric Sleep. This was a film. It's a black sci-fi thriller that was made by a team of people for about $13,500. Very low budget, very well done though. I mean, they did an incredible job. It won a bunch of awards in different festivals, and I actually got the chance to watch it at the Silicon Beach Film Festival, where I met the producer Ben and the director Theo, and I got a chance to just hang out with them, have a good time. And it was zero like business focus at that time. Like literally I was just going there to support them and watch their film. They had invited me. So I was like, I brought my wife and we had a good time. Went to the TCL theater in Hollywood. It was a fun night. Well, turns out their distribution arm, the people they hired to sell the film couldn't sell it. And so they were just going to put it back on the shelf. And so we ended up coming alongside and say, hey, let's premiere it on Mometu. Give it an opportunity and see what happens. And now that film lives on Tubi. It lives on, I believe, Fossum. I believe it lives on Afroland TV. So we were to get it on our platform for like 90 days exclusively, and then it went to other places and kind of just gave it legs, which was really, this last year in March of 24. We also premiered a film called Stupid Games. Mm-hmm. And Stupid Games was made for under $10,000. This film I loved from the jump, and it was like, it's kind of like an adult Jumanji in a sense. Like these 6 people get together in a unique way, but they come together to play a board game, and they find out that the game starts playing them back. And in order to, you got to finish the game, right? Like that's the whole goal, right?
Just like Jumanji, yeah.
But people start dying. So like, it's just a really cool horror film.
Yeah.
And a lot of fun. Had a blast with those. We did a fun little premiere. I think we probably spent more money on the premiere than they did making the film. We had a great time. That film eventually, again, 90-day exclusive window on Mometu, onto Tubi, became a top 10 film on a horror film during October for Tubi. And that film eventually, this last month, just won gold at the Telly Awards. So really cool to just be a part of that and just give it legs and have some fun with those filmmakers. And as far as international stuff, I get a really fun chance to go to France every year.
Yeah,
so I get to go to Cannes every October, and it's a lot of fun. Get to meet with a lot of different distribution companies and filmmakers, and producers, and all that stuff. So we've been able to build up a portfolio of over 10,000 films and shows on Mometu, and I have a few different relationships out there that help bring some international content. And some of the top titles we have, one more of my favorites is called The Policeman's Lineage. It's one of the first ones we launched. It's a Korean crime drama, really kind of a Korean training day in a sense.
Okay, yeah.
And it stars Cho Jin-woong, who is very well nominated and an award-winning actor in Korea, as well as a name that more people would know over here, which is Choi Woo-shik. You may not know the name very well, but you know the person because he played the younger boy in Parasite.
Yeah.
And so he's grown up a little bit now. He's like a young cop in this film. So it's really cool to have him on and on a film that has really done well on our platform. We were able to bring in a Hong Kong thriller that did 9 figures in the box office globally.
Yeah,
really, really well done film. called Shockwave 2. And so that again, just bring in. So I think I was looking at some figures earlier, and I know you had mentioned like talking about some film status. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
Shockwave 2. I got to make sure I look at the numbers. It grossed almost $200 million in the worldwide.
Worldwide.
And we have this film
Yeah.
on Mometu. So it's like to bring a film like that where it wasn't really. I mean, it did play in some theaters, but more select theaters that are more in like different Asian communities, right? There's some Asian theaters are kind of what we know them as, but they play those films. They don't play them in. This film didn't make it to the Irvine Spectrum and South.
They weren't on all the AMC theaters nationwide.
Yeah, it wasn't an AMC. It wasn't that stuff.
Yeah.
So really cool opportunity to bring it to Mometu and expose people to just some really cool Hong Kong
stuff,
thrillers, and so stuff like that.
Yeah, so you guys have all that indie stuff, but it's not all indie films and things on there. I noticed just kind of thumbing through, I am a huge TCM buff. I love classic films. I love old movies. So I know you have Adam's Rib was on there, a great Keaton and Arbuckle double video set where it's just all Buster Keaton, Fatty Arbuckle shorts. So there was a lot of really cool stuff on there. And you have I forget his name. You'll have to tell me his name. The gentleman who in the suit who gives the introductions to certain classics. He's great. He's got that Robert Osborne vibe about him. Wants to just give him that knowledge.
Yeah, that's Harry Marks. And so shout out to Harry if you want to go check out his content. Really cool. We found him on TikTok. Actually, it was just a love at first sight, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
He's just a really cool dude, and he does these videos for us. We kind of came to this idea of like, what about doing some TCM, Robert Osborne-esque intros on these classic films, and he's so good at it. He's like a film historian.
Yeah,
and so
he's great.
He's been doing it for almost a year now, I believe. And he's done like Sabrina, Coconuts, Mrs. Miniver.
I watched his intro to Coconuts. And that was great.
He just has so much fun with it, and it's just really engaging. So if you're looking for him, you can find him on our YouTube page. So that's just search Mometu on YouTube. You can find those there. You can literally find him on our app. So there's literally a section on the homepage that has like some fun content that we have. So the movies of the week that we do with Sierra Nowak. And then obviously Harry's top 10, as well as our podcast is on there. But Harry's intros are there as well. And they're also listed within each film that he's done too. So we have like a little highlight button. Yeah. And they're so much fun. But if you're looking to follow him and more of his content that he does, you're really a big classic film buff, go to TikTok and find him at Let's All Go to the Lobby or at Lobby Intros.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was great. But then also you do have those bigger films. And I noticed like, one of the biggest films, Halloween. So you guys do pull in, and I think that's your favorite horror movie. I think you mentioned the podcast.
It is.
That you love Halloween. So is that one that you kind of just had to have for you, or
no,
did it just come up that the
relationship
price was right, the relationship was right?
Yeah, the relationship was built, and it's just a phenomenal film. But we have a very good selection of class. So if you're actually looking for Halloween or other films that are kind of in that area of like 50s, 60s, 70s, and horror films, go to our horror page. Like you can literally just go to movies, go to genres, click on horror, and in that there we have a fun, engaging kind of row of content called Echoes from Elm Street is what we've
I saw that. So,
a ton of stuff that's in there.
I think that's how I saw. I was scrolling through, and that's where I saw Halloween. Wow, that's big time. Like, yeah.
Our team has a lot of fun with like curating our content and making sure we have just like fun names. So we had Charles on our team heads up our curation and our operations team, and so he has a lot of fun with all that stuff.
It has the feel of and I don't mean low budget as an insult, but it's like a low budget Criterion. It's very curated towards specific what's going on and what looks like it's going to fit, and it's very specific. And by low budget, I just mean independent, smaller films, lesser seen, and that's great.
Yeah, I mean we're kind of that independent streamer. We're kind of like, in a sense, what Tubi was about a decade ago. I mean, they started out small, and now they're massive. They're owned by Fox, and it's like they're doing all these great things. But yeah, you can do a lot of fun things when you have a lot of money.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. I was looking to stream the Super Bowl, and it was on Tubi. That was the weirdest thing. But no, so Mometu, the thing that I really want to talk about. This is what gets me really excited. The College Film Festival, now in its third year, it celebrates 7 different categories. I think, is that right?
Yep. We have
7 categories: horror, drama, comedy, TV pilots.
Yeah. So we have the best drama, comedy, horror, thriller, sci-fi. It's kind of coupled into one. And
Yeah,
we're going to break that out
sure.
next year because we had a lot more entries this year than we ever had. And then, or submissions. Then documentary, best potential pilot, which I believe that award's going to go away this year too.
Is it?
We're going to move that in because we're going to break out horror, thriller, sci-fi. It's going to be just horror, sci-fi, and then we're going to break out thriller and kind of break it in like drama, thriller. So it's two separate things.
Sure.
Best black cinema.
That's
and
right.
best foreign language film. Yeah, so we wanted to make sure that, with the HBCU schools, we added in black cinema. From the first year, we did not have that. We just added for the second and now the third year. And then we also added in foreign language film because we have a lot of film students from other countries that are more comfortable with making films in their native tongue.
Absolutely. Yeah. So would a film like Fitna fall into, can it go to multiple categories, or would the submitter choose which category they wanted to be a part of?
No, so they submit
that
it
one's
into
dual language, right? It's Arabic and
so you have to make sure that the film, like in order for foreign language, it has to be at least 50% of the film has to be in a foreign language.
I think Fitna fits in that.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly the percentage of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that the majority of the dialogue is in the cell with them communicating back.
Yeah, so we try to have conversations with the filmmakers that we're selecting, and then also look at saying, hey, I think your film could better be suited in this category, right? Like I remember last year we had a film that was in Spanish and it was been put into best drama, and I was like, drama is the most submitted to category. I feel like even if you get selected, you'd have a better chance of winning your category if you were over here. We had another one that was, again, best drama, and I approached the filmmaker and I said, hey, I think this could be a potential pilot. I really do. And it was about a kind of more of a medieval time-esque, like very, very The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings type feel to it. A kind of fantasy world, and it was about it was called The Tales Never Told, and it was just this film that talked about these stories of battles and out of this book, and it was like magical, and I was like, I really feel this could be a pilot. And sure enough, it ended up winning the category.
Wow.
And got invited to Hollywood, for the screening. So yeah, we try to have conversations with all the filmmakers just to make sure they're fitting right in the right category, and sometimes they just submit it. And they don't
noticed
really
that because a lot of the dramas that I've been watching so far, they could be sci-fi. Like Eden has a very sci-fi druid, the Earth Mother vibe to it, so it could very easily fall into There's one of the comedies there's some horror comedy in there. They could fall either way.
Like Gemini is kind of a dark comedy with where someone's dead. It's like So there's some that cross over to different genres. They just, again, we have conversations with them, and at the end of the day, they have to, like, the filmmaker ultimately has to decide what's best for them. Because it's at the end of the day, it's their film and their baby, and we're here just to support them and have it and give them a vessel to share their content.
So the festival itself includes educational panels, virtual and in person. So what are some of the more requested topics from the student filmmakers that you're looking at having this? Is it in July is when the actual...
No, so we do these ahead of time. So they're actually going on now. Like actually, this Thursday is panel number 3. So
will they be on Mometu for other people to watch, or
no? These are panels that are just for the filmmakers that are selected and anyone that's on their team. But we do record them and send them to them. But like just for their own educational purposes, and sometimes some of the people just based on schedules are just not able to make it, right? But yeah, so we hold 4 different educational panels. The first one is on marketing, and the main focus of that is marketing without a budget and how to utilizing social media and the right ways, building up an Instagram page or a TikTok, or utilizing Reddit to help, get input, right? Because you can't really spam sell or whatever like on there. So, hey, give me some input on my film, and here's the link. And really at the end of the day, it's like, hey, go watch my film, right? So and there's could be some like legit questions through there, but Facebook is probably one of the most underutilized sources of finding people to watch your film. And so we did a whole masterclass on marketing, and even to the point where we designed a fake film and showed them how we would market that. And so give them a real world example. Like it was a film called Don't Feed the Ducks, and it was about like where these people in this town knew not to feed the ducks because they know that these ducks are evil and that are in the pond, and so tourists will come and they'll feed the ducks even though the sign says not to. And so it's more of a play on just like, hey, make sure you read signs and don't just be a jerk, right? So at the end of the day, the ducks come out of the water and find the people that feed them and then kill them. So it's like it's totally made up story. It was a lot of fun to do. But again, we showed them like, hey, by even going to like Facebook animal activist groups, people that are fans of ducks, you never know.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about maybe even posting and tagging like the Anaheim Ducks or the Oregon Ducks, right? Like, you never know. That could be something that just resonates and happens. Someone shares it and says, how funny is this? Like maybe the ducks that are going to go kill them, like maybe that should be like Oregon State, right? Maybe they should go after the beavers next, So those things that just, you never know what's going to happen. So again, we did that whole masterclass on marketing. Then we did a panel on filmmaking. So we had a indie filmmaker, Dan Mervish, who he directed a film that's on Mometu called 18 and a half. You should definitely check out.
Yeah. That one, I think you mentioned that one in one of our emails. And so it's on my list. No, you mentioned it in the podcast.
In the podcast. Yeah, because we had Dan Mervish on my podcast.
Yeah. That's where I heard it. So 18 and a half, I pulled it up and I wrote it down. So it's on my list. I need to watch it.
Great movie about the 18 and a half missing minutes of the Nixon tapes.
Yeah.
Has Willa Fitzgerald and John Magaro. Really cool. Richard Kynes in there. Lloyd Kaufman has a little cameo.
I love Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah. Really cool film.
He's a hero for low budget people.
He is. I've known Lloyd since I was a kid too. So
that's right, because your parents were both film people.
Yeah,
right?
My dad was a director. My parents produced some films together, and so my dad directed some trauma films, and so he directed like the Class of Newcomb High Part 2 and Part 3.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so really cool. So I was involved with knowing who the Toxic Avenger was at a very young age.
Right. Yeah.
When I was like 4.
I love film.
Yeah. So I've known Uncle Lloyd for a while. Haven't seen him in a bit, but I know I'm definitely a lot older than I was the last time I saw him, but need to get together with him soon. But yeah, so we did that with Dan Mervish. He did a whole thing on independent filmmaking. He has a really, really good book about independent filmmaking. So highly suggest if you're a filmmaker listening, go check out Dan Mervish's book about indie filmmaking. I don't know the full title, but it's something about the subversive something. I don't know. It's really good though. It's a long title. He's a phenomenal guy, and he's actually one of the co-founders of Slamdance. So if people are familiar with Slamdance,
that's how I knew knew of him. I knew it because he started Slamdance all because of how hard it was to be a part of Sundance. So he just moved across town and
he
did
got
his own
rejected
thing.
by Sundance.
Yeah.
So him and 12, so it was 12 feature filmmakers and 12 short filmmakers that all got rejected by Sundance. And then they said, screw it, we're just going to start our own thing, and started Slamdance together. So it's really cool. And that's been, 3 decades now that festival's been going on. And now it's in LA. It's no longer in Park City. The one we're doing on this week is going to be with a friend of ours, distribution friend of ours, who's going to be talking about distribution pitfalls. And so teaching these students stuff that they don't learn in college, which is like how to secure distribution for your film and the things to look out for, the red flags to don't sign a deal that's like 10 years, all rights, IP rights. Like there's like so many different things they could get away with and you just don't know. And what are the caps on commissions and all that stuff. So really, really important to share that knowledge to these young filmmakers so that they hopefully, even if one of them retains some information down the road, it's helpful, right?
Yes.
And then the last one, we actually have another co-founder of Slamdance, which is John Fitzgerald. He is also the co-founder of a new program called Hike. It's a new company that's coming in as more of a competitor to Film Freeway. And John Fitzgerald is going to talk about film festival strategies.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff. That's happening all this month. The filmmakers that were selected are getting these educational panels virtually through the festival, like during the festival as it's going on.
Yeah.
While it's on Mometu at least, right? Because all the films are up for 30 days. And then the 7 winners are then invited to our red carpet screening of their film and get to do a Q&A with them on stage. They'll do some red carpet interviews, like with some legit, like we have the reigning Miss World America, Athena Crosby.
Yeah.
She's going to be on the red carpet, like interviewing them. And
wow. Getting that real Hollywood treatment.
100%.
love
it's
it.
really
Yeah.
good experience for them. At the end of the day, it's really good experience because most other film festivals don't do that. Like some of them do, like CineQuest does a great job of the red carpet stuff, doing interviews and such. And Athena actually does interviews for them too. So it's just, they're going to get a great experience at such a young age. Or not young age, but young in their
Right.
careers, right?
Right.
Because most of them are recent graduates. So
yeah. And just as a side, the Cheerful Subversive's Guide to Independent Filmmaking. For anybody
There
that's
you go.
curious, that's Dan Mervish's book. So check it out. It's
It is
on
a
it's on Amazon.
Yeah. It
Go
is a
buy a
mouthful.
copy. You did mention the festival titles. It's 30 days. It's all through the month of June, and then it's at the in-person awards screening is at the Harmony Gold in July. So the judging, the watching, the viewing goes through this month, and then you'll do the big awards ceremony for everybody in July.
Yeah, we have just over 20 judges that are judging right now, like throughout the month of June.
Yes.
And they're set up per category and everything. So a really diverse network of judges for each category. We take that data from them, like the judging data, and that becomes 75% of the judging, the results, right? 25% of it is based on the watch data on our app, which is partly why we also do the marketing session at the beginning, because we want to help them learn kind of like a masterclass of how to, through this month, like use it as a real-time example. I think oh gosh, I was just at a graduation this past weekend at Cal Poly SLO, and one of the things that they talked about was like learning by doing, right? Like that was their biggest thing, was learning by doing. Don't just learn, you got to learn by doing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of that thing, right? This whole month is like learning by doing. Like some of these filmmakers have put some really cool posts on Instagram and on TikTok just to get the name out there and get people to come watch their film. And you never know who's going to just repost something and share it.
Mm-hmm.
So love bringing awareness to that and teaching them that. But so again, 25% is based on the watch data, number of users and the completion rate of their film. And someone could start it and not finish it, right? It's not that great or whatever, right? It's a short film.
Like me,
I'm hoping they're finishing him.
There's a random start and stop halfway through a movie today because my Roku went out.
Oh no. Yeah. So again, it's all averages, right? So
right.
It's fine.
No, so it's going to show, for me, it'll show 2 starts, 1 finish. But
I love it. So we have all that stuff. Again, we get the 7 winners, 1 from each category. They get to kind of come down and do more of a they're screened in front of a live audience. We have about a 330 person theater at Harmony Gold.
Yep.
And then we have a fresh panel of judges to judge Best Picture. And then the audience go to choose the audience award. And we also have a really cool prize that we've been able to work with a company called Insurgents Films.
Mm-hmm.
They've ponied up a pretty good sized purse of money for one of the filmmakers is going to have their short film developed into a feature film. And so it's going to be kind of used as like kind of a proof of concept. And then we'll help develop that film into a feature, and it will premiere then on Mometu the following year. And we'll hopefully premiere the trailer at the next year's festival.
Festival. That's awesome.
And they get to direct it too. So it's not just like,
we're not taking your IP.
No,
we're bringing
they get to
you
direct
with
it. And they own 50% of the profits of that film for the life of the film.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. So so about your podcast that you do, the More for Me and You podcast.
Yeah.
So you combine interviews and movie reviews within that. So how does that synergy help support Mometu's content strategy and deepen the audience connection? Just to basically pitch your podcast for us. Drive some viewers.
It's a loaded question, but no, it's we have fun with it, man. It's honestly it's more about my guest than it is about Mometu, but we do spin it obviously to bring some awareness to our brand and our company, right? The interview is with different directors, producers, actors, comedians, musicians, soon influencers, executives that we've had on before. I mean, we even had the co-producer and co-creator of the Brady Bunch on recently. It was really fun to get him on.
That's cool.
Lloyd J. Schwartz. And so we've had some really cool people on and some really fun ones coming up. I'm actually going to be back in the studio tomorrow. So we got 2 more guests coming on the podcast. And the idea is to give light to like what they're doing. So I want to showcase what their journey. So where did they grow up? What did they want to do when they were younger? How did they get into what they're doing now? Is it always was that always their plan?
Right.
Was that always part of their roadmap? Right. What are they doing now? And then what is kind of coming up in the future, and then give them an opportunity to share where we can find them.
It's awesome.
And so that's kind of the premise of the beginning. We do have a fun game called This or That we play in the middle that is really engaging. If you could check out our YouTube channel to watch just those segments if you wanted to, or even catch the full episodes. And then at the end of the podcast, we actually just have like a shorter segment that is they are tasked to pick a film that's playing for free on Mometu.
Right.
We both watch it ahead of time, and we then do a spoiler-free review on that film.
That's cool.
And so it does give a chance to showcase like, hey, we got some really cool stuff playing on Mometu. What were your thoughts on it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Who are your favorite characters? Blah, blah, blah. Right. So we've had a lot of fun with that too. And yeah.
And I think that's so much more beneficial to film fans like myself than any algorithm could do. I want to hear a real human talk to me about this movie. I may not have been interested in 18 and a half just based on the title or a picture or something, but hearing someone talk about it, now all of a sudden the story starts to resonate with me, the idea starts, and that drives me a lot more than just putting something in front of me. In our world, we're conditioned to tune things out that we don't care about. We scroll past it, doom scrolling. We scroll past what we don't care about. So hearing someone talk about it with passion helps to make me more passionate about, I got to check that out. So
Absolutely.
I think that's a great part of that. I love the idea of getting someone else's opinion. Then I can go, okay, well, that sounds interesting. Let me check that out.
Yep. And it gives our audience a chance to hear what's going on in their life. And then it gives their audience a chance not just hear maybe some stuff they've never heard about, who they follow, but also a chance to hear a little bit about Mometu and what we're doing and how we're kind of just becoming a source for content that, again, is underserved. And like you mentioned, like stuff that you may scroll by because it doesn't have like the best poster or just wasn't promoted, or you never saw it because the algorithm just never picked it up on another service.
Exactly. And then, so speaking of life choices, you highlight that in the podcast. You initially hesitated before joining Mometu.
I did.
But then you pivoted when you saw the clear niche and content opportunities. Can you talk a little bit about that decision and what, and in the end, eventually convinced you to join up?
Yeah, it was a thing where I got tapped on the shoulder and they're like, hey, we think you'd be a really good fit to run this company. And a lot of that was happening to do with, obviously my background growing up in the film industry. So like understanding where the indie filmmakers were coming from, but also my background in kind of the business world. So I worked for corporate America for about 15 years, some managerial roles, some sales roles, and it was never the end thing for me. My overall goal was to get into a position where I could work for a startup, and it didn't have to be in the entertainment space, but I wanted to do something that would help people. That was my overall goal. And I think that must have come out in a conversation with someone, which is why I got tapped on the shoulder, because they kind of tapped me and said, hey, I think you'd be a good fit for this. What do you think? And I said, I didn't think it was a good fit for me at first. I just was like, no, I don't want to get in the entertainment world. I don't think that this business plan potentially could work, long term. It's a great idea, but I just don't see myself doing it. And I don't know if I could make that decision at the time that I was doing it, because it was kind of during COVID, like when it was kind of approached, and I was like, I had just had a 3-year-old, or 3-year-old now, but I just had a baby. It was just like, man, I don't know. This is kind of a big jump, right? So talked about it with my wife, prayed about it, and it was just one of those things where this could be fun, but let me revamp the idea of it and make it more about the filmmaker and how we could help them versus more than just the user getting more content. And how could we not just put a film up, but how could we get more notoriety to that filmmaker by getting them through, doing PR for them and maybe getting on some podcasts and some blogs and helping them get with some movie reviewers and stuff like that. So a lot of different pieces that we're trying to help with any film that we do as an exclusive release, especially, we do a little bit more effort than we would on another film. And that's just more so to get that filmmaker a little bit of a jump, and even to help some get distribution, like onto Mometu, but also onto other platforms, because again, it's such a hard thing to know who to trust and who not to trust, and where are you going to make money, and the windowing opportunities. So there was a lot of different things that went into it, but ultimately I chose that this was the right path for me, and I'm so happy that I did. I'm having such a blast. I love what I do. Love all the filmmakers I get a chance to kind of interact with. And then again, doing the film festival is such a blast, and
That's awesome.
if I'm able to impact at least one student every year, I would count it as a win. And I've been able to make an impact on multiple students every year, and not just the winners. Sometimes just a film getting selected. There was a podcast that I was on, and they asked me about it, and I was just like, there was this filmmaker who literally came to us and said, hey, I submitted to 10 different festivals. I got rejected by all 10. And I was going to give up putting my film on any more festivals and give up as a filmmaker altogether until you selected our film. And so sometimes it's just a little bit of confidence that someone needs and a little bit of kindness. And
Sure.
it goes a long way. And that film was incredible. It had a chance to win its category. It didn't. But, I'm just so happy that we were able to do that kind of stuff. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's what I try to focus on no matter what I'm doing is all about the people and how I can impact them, because I look back to when my dad was a filmmaker, and if he had these opportunities for what some streaming provides or even the film festival provides, my life could have been different. And so I'm thinking of like little kids that potentially are going to be, growing up with their parents as filmmakers or whatever industry or part of the industry they get into. Did that help in any way? I hope it did.
That's awesome. Now, can you tell me a little bit about, you guys have also branched out into the streaming television channels, right? The live stream TV channels.
Yeah, so they're called fast channels. Free ad supported television, or pretty much what cable was.
Extreme fighting and different things like that. So, and you have you have Vizio integration. So are you integrated into most of the now coming out TVs? I know you guys, the film festival has a partnership with TCL, Vizio, so you're now coming on not preloaded, but in their app stores and those things.
Yeah, so that's kind of a two-part question, right? So the first thing was about the channels.
Right.
With those are linear channels that are on Mometu. So like if you go to our app, you can watch some linear channels, more like what we call the lean back channels, lean back feel, where you're not having to select exactly what you're watching.
Yes.
You're just kind of selecting the vibe you're getting into. So, excuse me. So we had, we added on Lights Out Sports, which is actually ran by Sean Merriman. If you know him, if you're a Chargers football fan or just football fan in general, all-pro linebacker, phenomenal dude. Had a chance to meet him, and great guy. I've been to a couple of his fights as well, where they're so much fun. And so we brought on his channel, which is just all it is all of the fights that he's had in the past. He repurposed them and put them up. They're kind of a feeder into the UFC now. So some of their fighters have gone into the UFC after they've been part of Lights Out. So you're getting to see some really quality talent. There's a lot of fighting leagues out there, but this one is top notch. They're getting some really, really good fighters in there. So you get to watch all the repeats of that on their channel, which is fun. We have a poker channel. We have a cooking channel called Cooking Panda. We have a channel for Black cinema called Afroland TV, which is incredible. We have some classic channels like A to Z Best Classics. And so if you're looking for stuff that's just unique and different, and also just you don't have to choose what you're watching.
Right.
It's kind of that old, getting back to the cable television days, right? It's that's what we have on there, which is great. Now, as far as
I want some streaming service somewhere to create the thing. So like if I decide I want to watch The Simpsons, but I don't care which episode is on, I want a randomizer. I click random and it just does it like I would get on a random Thursday after school. That just a random episode.
That'd be cool. That'd be a great idea. I don't know if that's been done yet. I think
I haven't seen it anywhere, but I know that there are certain shows that I love that are like my comfort shows. Scrubs, Malcolm in the Middle. I would love to be able to throw those on and not have to just watch it in order. Just a random episode come on.
Yeah, I would do the same thing with like Suits or Entourage or Mad Men.
Yeah,
love all those shows.
Especially any of those shows that they may have a linear run through storyline, but each episode is its own thing. And to be able to watch
that's kind of these channels, like that's what they're called single IP channels. So really what it is that they typically do play in order, but like if you just signed it on a Tuesday and then you went on a random Friday,
randomly came
out in random order of what that is. It is kind of something that's already being done.
Yeah.
You can find those are single IP channels, which so if you go to any, we don't have any single IP channels on Mometu, but if you were to go to another service, say like a Pluto, you could go down and find, and then you'll see like, instead of being like Nickelodeon, it'll actually say something specific, more like Peppa Pig, right? Like, I have a 3-year-old, so go figure.
Andy Griffith Show, and it's just that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the Lucy Show or whatever, right? So, those are single IP channels. They do exist. I don't know if they'll be doing as a randomized thing, but kind of.
I'm sure somebody's
kind of being
thinking
already done. Yeah. So, but as far as the second part of your question was with about the platforms we're on, yeah, we're pretty much on every device. I mean, I can't say every device because sometimes it's limited based on the year of someone's device.
Right. But if I go to the store today and buy a TV, you're
Yeah.
mostly going to be on.
100%. Yeah. So we're on Roku. So as far as like set like little devices, right? We're on Roku, Fire TV. So if you have a Roku device or a Fire TV stick or a Roku stick or whatever it is,
Whatever.
we're on there. If you go to like Apple TV or Android TV, we're there. As far as the smart TVs, we're on Vizio. So we're pre-downloaded on Vizio. So like if you just, all you have to do is like literally go to like the free channels section or even type in Mometu and it'll pop up and it'll be pre-downloaded. So you don't even have to download it on your device. It's already, as far as like difference from Roku, like you have to go to the Roku search, like you go to the store and then download it onto your device. Yeah. And then we're on Samsung, LG, and then most of, for instance, like you mentioned, our best picture sponsor this year is TCL. TCL doesn't have their own OS or operating system. It works off of either Roku or Fire TV, depending on what's integrated into the back end. Yeah, so we're on it, right? We're there.
You're on it, yeah.
Yep. And then you can download it on your phone. Like you could take us on the go if you wanted to, and then you could even watch us on your computer. Yeah. But I highly suggest watching on your TV. It's just a better viewing experience.
And I have you on my phone. I have you on my computer. I have it on my TV.
Appreciate that.
Because I never know where I'm going to be sitting when I need to look at something. But the reason it's on my phone is I hate watching stuff on my phone, but using my phone, I can connect my phone wirelessly to my projector. So it has to be on my phone. So, but
yeah, and some people actually like utilizing their phone because they're at work or whatever.
Sure.
And you can sign in on your, like you could create an account, sign in on your phone, use that same login on your television. What you can do then is use your phone to find what movies because it's easier to search on your phone, right, with your fingers and everything and kind of see what you want to do, watch trailers, whatever. And then you could favorite something. It will save it in your account. Then when you're at home that night or that weekend or whatever your movie night is, you can then go straight to Mometu on your television
and it's
find your favorite section on the homepage, which is like 4 or 5 rails down.
Yeah.
And it'll be right there for you.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I know a lot of people, it's another subscription. You don't have to. If you don't want to utilize the favorites, if you don't want it to remember where you were watching last, you don't have to do that.
Nope. You can watch it
if you want to utilize those extra features. So,
correct. Yeah. You can just go on Mometu and just watch it. And again, the cool thing is that we don't use algorithms. So you're not missing anything. Like, it's not like because you haven't created an account that you're going to be missing out on opportunities. No, the app looks the same as it does for me, as it does for Josh, as it does for anyone using the app. The difference is that we expose you to content on the homepage that we want to expose you to. And then if you want to get into a specific genre like horror, which we have a great selection of, or classics like you mentioned, we have a great selection of, or getting more niche into like black cinema or Korean films, all you got to do is click on movies, go right to that little section where it navigates you into each genre or vibe, as we call it, like kind of niche. Or into any part of the world, and you're just immersed in a world of just that content. And so it doesn't, like the algorithm doesn't move you away. And you'll more than likely, I'm not going to say never, because if you use Mometu a lot, maybe never, but for the most part, you will not get to a point where you say, hey, I've seen everything. There's nothing new on.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, we will change that experience for you enough to where you're not going to see all the same content all the time.
And so speaking of that, the content, the international cinema that you guys have is so big, especially South Korean, Japanese, and then the one that I was never heard of before, the Nigerian cinema, the Nollywood. So how do you approach these creators? How do you curate content for something as niche as Nollywood, Nigerian cinema? That just seems like it's way out left field. It's super cool. How do you do that?
It seems out of left field for us, right? Like a typical viewer,
right?
And American viewer, right? But like Nollywood, actually, the reason why it's called Nollywood, right, is because being in Nigeria, so it's changed the H to an N, but they actually make more movies per year than Hollywood does.
Really?
They produce so much content out of Nollywood. And the thing is that they do things unscripted. And so what that means is that very similar to reality TV, they'll just like give people of here's, if people think reality TV is reality, it's not. They give them an idea of like, hey, this is what we think.
Here's your
This is
prompt.
where you're going to go today. This is what you're going to do today. This is what you're going to wear today. Like those things, right? But they don't tell them what to say. They say pretty much, hey, you're starting here. These are your character names. You're the dad, you're the mom, you're the daughter. And this is the end result of the scene. This is where we need you to get to. And they let them go. And usually it's like 1 to 3 takes, and they just go with the best one and move on to the next scene. And they're able to pump out content really quick. Now, some of the cinematography is not the best, the lighting or whatever, or sometimes the sound is not the best because they pump things out so fast and it just is what it is. But that's content from Nigeria. And it is really unique and really fun to watch sometimes too. Like it's actually interesting stuff. But we get the opportunity to work with a lot of great distribution companies. And like I mentioned, I go to France once a year to Cannes to a conference called MIPCOM. And MIPCOM is the largest content convention in the world. So I get to meet people from almost every country that they make film at. Like they make movies and shows. Like we get to talk to people from Turkey, we get to talk to people from Nigeria, people from Korea and Japan and China, and I mean, really every country's represented. I mean, all over Europe, because obviously we're in Europe, but
Sure.
everyone is there from Europe. But we'll get some people from representatives from Australia, New Zealand, and the Philippines and Malaysia, and we have some films I think from from Mongolia on our platform.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to bring content like that back to the States.
It is. Yeah, for sure.
We'll get maybe more integrated with a lot of like Spanish content, right? Because we're so close to Mexico and obviously being, in the same continent as a lot of South America, being with the Latin America world, and obviously South America being very close. We get a lot of Portuguese content, telenovelas and stuff like that, right? We have apps like Vix and Canela that are very prevalent. So we don't really have many apps that are like specifically focused on Nollywood, right? Or Turkish content. It's just not there. So we're able to bring just a wide variety of international content to expose people to, and be like, this is you get exposed to it, and all of a sudden you're watching your 6th Mongolian film and you're like,
yeah, because outside of anything like this, we're relying on maybe getting the in like January, getting that short list of the possible Academy Award Best Foreign Language Films, that 15 list before they narrow it down to 5. And that's what most of us are going to get. Something like this, you're going to see the everyday movie, the popcorn movie of their nation, and you get to really get into something.
And we don't have everything, right? I mean, our Korean content is definitely built out pretty well. But even then, we're missing so much still.
Sure.
Like we're still there's a lot that we don't get. So, yeah, I mean, you get a little bit of a taste.
Yeah. Yep. I love it. And then so with all of the international, is Mometu, is it an international app? Can you get the app in Europe, or is it just North America?
Just North America. So right now, US, Canada, Mexico. We might be removing Mexico soon. It's just more so the business side of things.
Sure.
Financially,
those logistics.
The ad market is not, because it's an ad supported app, right? So
100%.
The ad market there just is not as lucrative. So they just don't pay as much. And from a tech standpoint, what we pay to serve the content, to serve the ads, and it just doesn't make sense. So we're probably going to pull out of Mexico here soon, probably by the end of the year. But it's unfortunate because we do have some users in Mexico, but for the most part, they're watching a lot of the content for free. So it just doesn't make sense to our partners either.
Absolutely. And that is one huge point that I noticed with your ad supported, but there's not a glut of ads. There are, like, I'll go through a 2-hour movie and maybe get 60 seconds, 90 seconds tops of ads through that whole time. I watched Private Eyes with Don Knotts and Tim Conway the other day, and I got an ad at the beginning and an ad at the very end, like mid credits, like nothing in between. So it's not all the time that you're getting hit with ads. So it's really well done.
I mean, the ad market right now is a little wonky, but the thing is that as we grow, as we get more users, the number of ads will increase.
Yeah, it'll happen.
We're definitely keeping it more conservative, though. We're not pushing as hard as like some companies that I'll leave unnamed will push like ads every like 6 to 7 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
we're keeping it at about a 10-minute cadence as far as getting ads in your content. And the ads are really based on the marketplace. So it's not something we always control. It also depends on where are you watching from and what device are you watching from. And like advertisers want to know everything. They want to know like who you are, where are you from, what device are you watching on, what type of content is it? Because that ad may be something that they can't serve to someone that's watching I don't know, like a comedy. It's just not their the company that they're representing does not want to market to a company that or a user that's watching comedy for whatever reason. I don't know why, but maybe they're going after, or maybe they want to watch maybe they want to serve it specifically to classic films because they're, it's a product for 55 plus, something like that, right?
Yep. No, that's awesome. So you're in the midst of that third annual film festival right now. For Mometu, what does success look like for all of the things you're doing, the festivals, the podcast, and even the platform 6 months from now? What does success look like in 6 months?
I mean, success is definitely more users, right? That's the number one thing. I mean, the festival's great. The podcast is fun. We're having a great time doing all of it. But at the end of the day, if there is no Mometu, there are those things go away as well.
Yes.
Right? They go hand in hand. So the number one thing we need is more users. So if you're listening to this and you enjoy Mometu as much as Josh,
I love it. Yeah.
Definitely go download it, but also tell some friends and, go on social media and do a post about it. Like do something. Again, the more people we have watching, the more likelihood we'll be around for years to come. It is a truth that if we don't add enough users, we can't operate. It is what it is. It's like any business. You don't get enough sales, you go under, right? So our biggest thing is to focus on just more users every single day. And we don't have to be your first choice. We're okay to be your fallback. Like go use your subscription platform. Maybe Netflix is your go-to or whatever you use first. And come to us if they're, they get to a point where, hey, there's nothing else on. I want to go find something quirky and fun, or, maybe a light one up and you just want to have fun with the film that just, I don't want to make you laugh, or something that's a more of a B horror or whatever. So,
right. No. And I think that's what I like about it so much, is because I am so tired of quote unquote being sold to. And that's how I feel every time I get onto the larger services. I feel like, and they are, and I get it, everyone's selling something and that's fine, but I want to have more control over what I'm putting in my body. The only thing that you guys are selling me is the little screen in the top right corner. It's your movie of the week or whatever. Just a quick, hey, this is something that we want all of our users to know about. But then everything else is just me scrolling around looking for what
that's not even us selling you.
It's not. No,
all
it's just,
it is.
Hey, this is interesting.
All that picture-in-picture thing is when you open the app up, whether it be on your phone, it's at the top, or if you're on the TV, it's at the top right corner, which is what Josh is mentioning. All it is a loop of like 30 trailers that we either just recently brought onto the platform, so like kind of new additions, or some stuff we may want to highlight. It may be more seasonal. So like as you see that picture-in-picture in October, it looks much different. It's mainly horror focused, right?
Absolutely.
But then if we get to Christmas, we may highlight some holiday films we have.
Yeah.
Or some romantic stuff in February and stuff like that. So there's a mixture of content that's on there, and all it is that so when you get on the app, you're looking for something to watch, maybe the trailer will spark some interest.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you go in not knowing what you're exactly looking.
Yep. And the title of the film is in the bottom corner. So it's not like, hey, this looks really cool. Like, man, that bank blew up. What happens next? And then you're like, oh my gosh, this looks really cool. Oh my, I didn't know they had Korean films on here. And then you're like, all right, let me find that title, right? So you search it and you find it and you're like, oh, this is cool. So
and you fall down your own rabbit hole.
Exactly.
No, I love it. So as we're talking about, there's a lot of competition in streaming. How do you envision the role of Mometu evolving in the next 2 or 3 years to stay so distinct and impactful?
I think it's going to be dictated on two things: users, first and foremost, and what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, our users are going to use our platform based on the content we have, and I think based on what we have is going to be dictated by what we eventually add to the platform too. We could have an idea about what we want to bring on, and we do. We have different ideas. Like we want to bring on more Black cinema because I think that's a area that we don't have enough content in, and like whereas we have a ton of classics. We have we talk a lot of Korean films. We have a lot of Korean films, Asian films as a whole. At think 13 different cultures are represented just from Asia alone. And so there's content we want to bring on. Like I would love to bring on some telenovelas and have some of those on there, which would be fun, especially for that Spanish speaking audience. And so there's something like that. But at the end of the day, we got to look at, okay, what is being watched? And then we're going to try to bring on more of that. We also want to get into doing some more exclusives. So doing some more, first release on AVOD, or maybe first release as a whole for like a lower budget horror film or something like that.
Yeah.
Or lower budget film in general, not just horror, but horror is typically very easily done with a low budget.
That seems to be the entry point for a lot of directors, because it is easier to generally make a low budget.
Yeah, you're either making a horror film or you're making a short.
Yeah,
for the most part. So yeah, there's a lot that we want to do, even to the point of maybe eventually doing originals. That would be amazing. So it's stuff that you could only find on Mometu. It would be so much fun. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we got to listen to our users. We got to listen to what they're or look at what they're watching and kind of replicate that a little bit and give them a little bit more.
Analytics become very important.
You got to give people what they're hungry for. Yeah, got to feed them.
And I do think one thing that you guys do really well, and it goes back to the college film festival. Now you're into these colleges, so now the advertisement is all over the college because they're telling all their friends. And if you're getting college kids to sign into Mometu, they're going to be the next generation that are downloading this and they're sharing it with their friends. So you're getting them when they're quote unquote young and building up lifelong users. So I think that's a great way to go. And so my listeners know, outside of podcasting, I am a teacher. That's what I do for a living. I teach middle school. So education is everything to me. So when you said it's college and I'm like, man, this is totally my thing. So yeah, you gotta, if you start there, if you start with those kids, they're the ones that are gonna be the lifelong viewers, and they're gonna give it to their friends. And yeah,
I mean, our demographic is definitely more of like I would say 16 plus, but someone maybe lean towards the 18 plus. But yes, more mature audience as far as the content we have on. Yeah, nothing like over the top, like crazy, but just more like, especially with the horror stuff we have, is a little more mature audience, right? We don't want to expose junior high kids to some stuff that we have platform.
Yeah, I'm not selling this to my.
Don't go promoting the Mometu on you'll get fired. You'll be getting some calls from parents. Yeah, that's and again, kids are gonna find what they find. There's work stuff out there. That's for sure. We at the end of the day with the festival, we just want to make sure it's more about impacting the filmmakers than it is about adding more users. But in turn, that is the most important thing for us too, right? So it goes hand in hand. If we can add more people to know about Mometu, especially the younger demographic, who can then be the future of whether the future filmmakers who could potentially add content onto our platform down the road, or maybe work with us as far as doing originals one day.
Yeah.
Or again, college kids like things for free.
They do. So absolutely.
Being one of those options for a movie night, a Friday, whether in school, would love that opportunity to be their kind of go-to for some kind of
and teachers love free stuff too.
What's that?
Us teachers, we love free stuff too. So I tell all my teachers
underpaid. We underpaid and like free stuff too. So we got every teacher on here. Free Mometu for you.
Go to Mometu. No, I love it. I love
free,
it. So
free subscriptions for all of you.
Free subscriptions for teachers and all first responders. So yeah, I really want to honor your time. So before I wrap everything up, before we say goodbye, is there anything, Bryan, that you want to share? Any shout out you want to give? Send people to Mometu, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, right now in the current moment, if you're listening to this episode, I'm not sure when you're posting it, but
the plan is for this to go live after the film festival window has ended. I want to line it up with all of that. So I was going to try to line it up with anybody because it's going to take me time to edit it. So it's probably, I was looking at the beginning of July.
All good. So with that, like the short films will still be available on Mometu. So go support these young filmmakers. Most of them have film pages on Instagram. So like if you just search the title of their film on Instagram, you could more than likely find it. You can even message us, and happy to go if you want to go find our page on Instagram. It's Mometu College Fest. So go do, we have a lot of the films that are tagged on there within posts that show like, best of the category that they're in. So you can find them. If you just want to spread some love and be kind to these filmmakers and just build some confidence for them, feel free to just go on there, follow us, find the page that has their post on it, and just give them a compliment. It would go a long way for people to know that just random people are just watching their films and just really enjoying them. It doesn't have to come from an influencer or a podcaster. It can just be coming from a normal person that just wants to be kind and spread the love.
Yes.
So highly suggest doing that. As far as Mometu goes, though, yeah, please go download the app, check it out, whether you enjoy it or not. Like we just want to share it. It's not going to be for everyone. It's okay. Like, but we feel like there is an audience for it, and the people that have found it and really enjoyed it keep watching, and they keep watching more and more and more because we have a lot of fun stuff on there and a lot of unique content. And so, like I mentioned, we don't have to be your first option necessarily, but we can, limit your exposure to subscriptions, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Go download Mometu on your smart TV or on your Roku or Fire TV. If you want to follow our journey along on social media, definitely go check it out. It's very easy to remember. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on it's at free Mometu. So Mometu is free. So go check that out. We were actually really fortunate to have one of our followers start a Reddit page for us. So if you're a Redditor, it's just Mometu TV. You can find us there, and there's some really cool stuff coming out from a very small community at the moment. I think there's like 15 people that are following or something like the tag. So, and I'm one of them. Yeah, it's a start. But it took a user from our platform that started it. It just took someone to say, hey, they think this is really cool. I want to spread some love about it. And that was awesome. So go find us there. And then last but not least, if you want to hear my voice anymore, because it's very deep and sultry and seductive, go check out the Mometu podcast, which is the More for Me and You podcast. You can find it on Instagram easily, which is at Mometu podcast. So then all the links are in there. We have a link tree that takes you. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, all that fun stuff.
And you can also find their podcast on the Mometu app itself.
You can. Yep. You want to watch it, go to there. If you want to watch it, you can go to YouTube. We are everywhere. Just Google search Mometu and just go down a rabbit hole of Mometu.
Yeah, love it. I love it. Well, Bryan, thank you so much for stopping by and talking with us. I'm really excited for it, and I can't wait to hear about the winners of the festival. So
I appreciate you having me on, Josh. And if you are in LA around the end of July, let us know. We'll have you come to the festival yourself.
Awesome. I appreciate that. All right, everyone. That was Bryan Louzil from Mometu. And honestly, I walked away from our conversation with a lot of respect for what they're trying to do. It's not easy to build a platform in this landscape, especially one that resists algorithms, champions student work, and builds a path for indie filmmakers to actually be seen. But Bryan and the Mometu team, they're really making it happen. And if you want to check out their college film festival, it's streaming for free right now on Mometu. And whether you're there to discover your next favorite international short or to support student filmmakers making their mark, it's really worth a scroll. So I think it's a great way to start seeing maybe tomorrow's filmmakers today. You can also hear more from Bryan and his team on their podcast, More for Me and You, which blends film reviews with interviews and some behind-the-scene insight into the platform itself. It's a smart move that gives voices to the mission in a very real way. And if you like this episode, please let me know. Drop a comment, shoot me a message, or leave a review wherever you're listening, or find me on Instagram and Threads at RealRealTalk, or email therealrealtalk@gmail.com. I'm always down to talk more about what's next in film and who's helping to shape it. And of course, don't forget to follow Real Real Talk for more interviews, reviews, and episodes across all our channels, from the main feed with this show and Couch Critics to Horror Edition and Grim Edition. Until next time, though, keep watching, but watch with a purpose. Thanks, everybody.
Underneath the silver screen, gleam, gleam, talking reels and all their schemes. Dusty scenes and dreams unfold, stories told in shadows bold. Gritty plots and whispers tight, dim the streets in moonlight bright. We dissect the cinematic art, real by real we pull apart. The real real talk where voices play with Classic films that leave a mark. Dive deep into celluloid night. Critique the legends in our sight. Every frame a layer appeal. Truth and intrigue are revealed. Fan the flames of black and white. The mystery dances in the night. Casablanca to the crime. In every score we find a rhyme. The real talk where voices play with velvet words and moonlight bright. With velvet world we pull apart. Real by real we pull apart. The real talk where voices play with velvet words and starlit sway. With velvet worlds and starlit sway. Real by real we pull apart. The real talk where voices play with velvet words and starlit sway. Reviewing tales both light and dark. Classic films that leave a mark.